Well, everyone, it is time for us to go ahead and kind of compare a used iPhone versus a brand new iPhone in 2022. Now, I've done videos like this before, and actually what I'll definitely tell you is, even before I made those videos, I've been buying brand new and used iPhones for so many years now, and to be honest, there are pros and cons both ways. I will be completely honest though, if you have all the money in the world, it kind of just makes sense to buy a brand new iPhone. It really there's no benefit of buying a used iPhone unless you're talking about a pure dollar for value standpoint. Other than that, if you're willing to just spend as much money and just have a really easy experience, there are so many pros of buying a brand new iPhone, and I would honestly always recommend it. You can always get deals from carriers, you can get student discounts, and the condition you can always get them in is just brand new, so typically I would recommend that route. However, if you're on a budget, or if you're somebody who just wants to kind of not feel guilty of buying a brand new device, buying a used iPhone is one of the best ways to save money of just getting a device in general. I personally had pretty much good experience of buying used iPhones throughout my whole entire life. I've been stung a few times, but pretty much any time I've done my research, contacted the people that I'm buying the iPhone with and gotten verification and everything, usually it's a good process, and I've explained how I buy my iPhones for so many years now too, so you can watch some of those videos too. Now, in this specific case, I've bought brand new iPhone XRs, used iPhone XRs, brand new iPhone 13s, used iPhone 13s, so many iPhones across the board. And what I can definitely tell you is, on the brand new side, there are lots of benefits. First of all, we have brand new packaging, brand new condition, and the resale value of a brand new iPhone is always much higher when you're the person who originally bought that device. So right now, if we're looking at a brand new iPhone, you can spend, about $829 for a brand new iPhone 13. That is just unlocked. It's $799 if you're getting it on a contract. However, if you're buying it straight, it's $829. And that's not conditioning any taxes or anything like that either. That's for the base iPhone 13. Now, for a used iPhone 13, I was able to buy one for about $710, I think, after everything considered. This was also for the base model, and this was about a month and a half ago. So it definitely wasn't brand new. I've also bought iPhone XRs and iPhone 11s and used iPhone 12s as well. And I've purchased these things for way less than asking price. For example, if an iPhone 12 was selling for right now about $699, about 2 months ago, I was able to buy an iPhone 12 in the used market for about $560. So substantially cheaper you're getting them in the used market, but they're not, half the price. It's not like a Samsung phone where those things depreciate like crazy. These iPhones maybe go down $100 to $150 within probably 6 months after release. And then about every year after release, the iPhone goes down about $200 to $300. So an iPhone 10 in 2017 was selling for $1,000. Right now, those iPhones are selling for about $200 to $300. So about $100 to $200 every year. That's kind of usually what happens. So that is a big thing to keep in mind. The price tag you're saving, it can definitely be a lot, but I'll give you an easier example with an iPhone 13 Pro that you can buy for, $1,000 brand new. That's like the iPhone I bought. Right now, they're going in the used market on average about $850 to about even $900. So it's not like you're saving a crazy amount of money. You're saving about 10 to 15%, which is a lot, but it really depends again on the condition. Now, you can go down to about $800, $750 as well for 13 Pros, but again, you have to do your research on those. I would say the average price is about $850, but again, you're going to have to do your research, and you don't want to be stung, meaning you don't want to get scammed. You don't want to make sure nobody, bought that iPhone and just, has it on payments and reports the iPhone is stolen, and then you can't even have an iPhone anymore. So as long as you verify those things and taking out all the, scams and everything, you're looking at about $800 to $850 for an iPhone 13 Pro right now. So those are massive things to keep in mind. Whenever I look at these iPhones, right, and I look at a brand new iPhone and a used iPhone, really the main thing is the price tag. Now, once you get these iPhones in-house, it's a little bit of a different story. I've owned, like I said, many brand new iPhones, and unboxing them and everything is really nice. But once I take it out of the packaging and I look around, I almost always throw a case on it, and I almost always throw a screen protector on it if it's my brand new device. And the reason why that's important is because personally, if there are scratches on the display, scratches on the body, scratches on the camera, problems like that, I don't really mind too much because I'm using this iPhone and I don't really care too much. I'm not really on my phone that much anyway. So that is one thing I always kind of think to myself when I was, using used iPhones all the time, like my iPhone 10. I didn't really care about the cosmetics of it because I just didn't really care personally. That's just not something I care about. However, the resale value of these iPhones is another important thing. If you're planning on reselling these iPhones after you're buying them, this is something that may be super important and something you may not want to overlook. For a brand new iPhone, if you want to go ahead and resell that iPhone, you can resell that device for quite a bit of money as long as it's still in good condition and you can say you're the original owner and you have the original accessories in the original boxes. You can sell those things for a premium. You would not even believe it. They're not going to go up in value, but you can still pretty much keep them and resell them for probably 10, 15. You're going to be getting the higher end of the average selling price at that point. With a used iPhone, sometimes these iPhones don't come with all the accessories, they don't come in the boxes, and sometimes they can come in different types of conditions. Now, a majority of the times I haven't sold an iPhone in so long, but if I was selling an iPhone, I would say 1 out of every 2 people would ask me, are you the original owner? Maybe 1 out of every 3, but it does come up. So people are interested in you being the original owner. On top of that, if you buy an iPhone, and let's say after a week or 2, you find out there's an issue with it, there are probably more issues with used iPhones after you purchase them than brand new iPhones. I've had lots of times and lots of issues where I would buy an iPhone off some website, and for some reason I would get it, and it maybe looked a little different than what I was getting. Sometimes a lot of sellers have these iPhones in bulk, so they will go ahead and sell an iPhone and say you're going to get an iPhone that's in similar condition, and it may not always be in similar condition. Sometimes it can have screen burn-in, sometimes it can have more scratches. So there's a lot more variables at play when buying a used iPhone than a brand new iPhone. Now, another example I want to go ahead and hit on is with AppleCare. For a lot of people out there, they use AppleCare. They love AppleCare a lot. Personally, I never purchase AppleCare. It's not one of those things I always spend money on. But if you buy a brand new iPhone, you have that opportunity of, kind of getting that specific iPhone in that condition and getting it with AppleCare. So if something ever happens, you have a little bit more flexibility there too. Also, the warranties that you're getting from a brand new iPhone can also be a little bit better than a used iPhone. Typically, if anything goes wrong with a used iPhone that I've ever bought, whether it was from eBay or really on any other website, the people who are selling those iPhones typically do a good job and they're willing to go ahead and just, I can return them and I can go and move on with my life. But even when I return some used iPhones, there are sometimes restocking fees that sometimes happen with brand new devices too, depending on where you're returning it to. Typically, I buy them from the Apple store, so there is no restocking fee whatsoever. But with used iPhones, sometimes there's restocking fees. Sometimes I have to pay for the shipping back. Sometimes I have to kind of, coordinate with them and tell them why I'm returning it. Kind of has to go through a long process. And it is kind of a tedious process that way. It's not the most annoying thing, but there is a little bit more of a, process of returning a used iPhone to a seller than to return a brand new iPhone to the actual manufacturer, like Apple in this example. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Again, it may not be a big deal, but that is one thing that I've kind of seen in this specific case. Now, ultimately, when we weigh the pros and cons, is it worth to save the money and buy a used iPhone, or is it better just to spend the money and get a brand new device? Well, I will definitely tell you, like I mentioned, if you have all the money, go for the brand new route. But also, there are a lot of advantages of buying a used iPhone. Sometimes if you want to buy an iPhone, you can't really buy an iPhone that necessarily, you can't buy a brand new iPhone 11 Pro anymore. So the reason I say that is because you have to go in the used market. So that's another big thing to keep in mind. But on top of that, with the used devices, you have a lot more choices you can choose. So if you wanted to buy an iPhone XR, you can't buy it in the brand new market. You have to go in the used market. And you can save even more money there by spending $290 on that phone than spending, $499 on an iPhone 11. So you're always getting cheaper prices, and with the brand new iPhones, you're definitely spending more money, but they're usually arguably in better condition, and there's just less friction there. So you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons. In my opinion, I will probably recommend buying brand new iPhones if you can, but if you're okay with spending a little bit more time to save, quite a bit of money sometimes, buying a used iPhone is something I would recommend looking into if you have the opportunity of doing so. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.